Hello to another trading day right here in Lagos, Nigeria on Business Incorporated. Coming up in the next 55 minutes. Monetary Policy Committee begins two-day rate-setting meeting today. As CBN pushes to stabilize FX market, we analyze latest guidelines for getting a BDC license. Plus, in Zambia, dollar securities due 2027 rally to the highest level since June 2022. Hello, welcome to the program. I'm Ladi Williams. First off, let's get the stories that set your agenda now, starting with the global oil market. We see prices fell today, extending losses, and market views that higher than expected inflation could delay cuts to high interest rates that have been capping growth in global fuel demand. Brent crude futures fell about 39 cents. That's about 0.5% to $81.27 a barrel. If you look at it right there, WTI crude, that's the cheaper version there, $76.14 a barrel. That's down 0.5%. The dip extended losses registered last week when Brent lost about 2%. And WTI fell more than 3%, and signs that the U.S. Federal Reserve is in no rush to cut interest rates. All right, let's go to the global grains market. Now, Chicago corn gained ground today with prices underpinned by short covering after the market dropped to its lowest level in more than 3 years last week, weighed down by ample world supplies and the expectations of a bumper harvest in South America. Well, soybeans rose for the first time in 4 sessions, while wheat recruits some of the last session's losses, as soybeans SV1 that's about 0.3% at $11.45 a bushel, while wheat that's trading at $5.71 for 3/4 of a bushel. Larger inventories of corn, mainly used to feed animals as biofuel, are providing headwinds to prices, which have dropped almost 12% so far in 2024. U.S. farmers held a whopping 7.83 billion bushels of corn in storage bins on their farms as of December 1st last year, the most ever for that date, and up about 16% from a 9-year low in December 2022. And that's according to data from the U.S. government. An International Monetary Fund's resident representative for Nigeria, Mr. Christian Ebeke, has been clearing the air on the fund's stance on Nigeria's exchange rate. In a statement released to the media, Mr. Ebeke notes that the IMF does not publish exchange rate forecasts at this time. This came in the wake of numerous reports in the Nigerian media citing the IMF for specific Naira to US dollar exchange rate forecasts for 2024. Mr. Ebeke highlighted that the origin of the misreporting traces back to an IMF report crafted towards the end of 2023, which only recently became public. This report, according to him, was not to provide exchange rate predictions, but a hypothetical downside scenario analysis, which is to stress test key macroeconomic variables against potential adverse external shocks. And the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise has expressed its support of the decision of the Central Bank of Nigeria to approve the use of the exchange rate reflected on the import documentation from M at the onset of import transactions. In a statement signed by the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Muda Yusuf, CPB calls it a laudable response to the grievances of investors in the economy that will reduce the current uncertainty around imports and related transactions in the economy. Dr. Yusuf notes that, however, the CBN intervention does not address the bigger and more troubling issue of the current prohibitive cost of cargo clearance at the ports, which had risen by over 40% in the last 2 months. He further appeals to the CBN to peg the customs duty exchange rate at 1,000 Naira to the dollar for the rest of the year, in line with the federal government's commitment to ease the current hardships on citizens and the burden on businesses, as the current customs duty exchange rate at 1,488 naira to the dollar is still too high in the context of the current galloping inflation and difficulties facing businesses and citizens. Stakeholders have reported of instances of abandoned cargo currently on the increase as a consequence of escalating trade costs. And now we see markets in Yobe State are gradually witnessing a decrease in the prices of food commodities following the drastic measures taken by Governor Mai Mala Buni in monitoring the hoarding and bulk purchase of other neighboring states and international borders. The state government has also set up a 24-man committee to address the artificial scarcity as well as procure foodstuff to residents at a subsidized rate. Take a listen.
According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the inflation rate on food and non-food items rose to 29.9% as of January 2024, a situation that is making it difficult for many households to feed properly. In the last 2 weeks, Governor Mai Mala Buni summoned an emergency security meeting and commenced monitoring of bulk purchases of foodstuff. He also set up a 24-man committee to avert artificial scarcity that may arise, as well as procure food items for residents at subsidized rates. The effort is gradually yielding results as the prices of foodstuff across the state reduced by at least 13%.
A few weeks ago, we sold a bag of grain at 50,000 naira. The price is now gradually coming down to 40,000 naira. A bag of beans was sold for 106,000 naira. Today it is 95,000. In the last few weeks, 50 kilogram of beans was sold at 116,000, but today in the market it is 85,000 naira. The major challenge is the cost of transporting the goods to market following the high cost of petroleum products.
The state government is leaving no stone unturned to ensure that the prices of foodstuff do not rise beyond the reach of the ordinary citizens.
The level of Yobe State, His Excellency, is doing everything necessary, everything possible to ensure that people have relief across Yobe State. And we are grateful to God that as we speak, things have begun to get better for the people, at least temporarily. Hopefully things will continue to get even better as these measures become more entrenched, as the monitoring continues by security agencies. And as you may be aware, His Excellency impaneled a committee led by the Deputy Governor, His Excellency Honorable Idi Bardegubar. And that committee was inaugurated just a few days ago. You may have heard that part of what the state government intends to do under His Excellency Governor Mai Mala Buni is to ensure that the state government can buy some of these grains itself and sell to people at very, very subsidized prices.
The residents are hopeful that the measures in place by the government would be sustained to bring succor to the general public.
All right, right about now, it's definitely tax filing season, and now we're going to get a sense of what to expect and what you need to do to stay on the good side, of the law at this time. Mr. Tokunbo Akonde, now Special Advisor to the Executive Chairman of the LIRS, joins us right now. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much for
having me. So definitely, I know it's not an easy time for businesses and individuals. Well, now we're looking at individual tax returns, at this time. Talk to me about the deadline.
Yeah, the deadline is 31st of March 2024. Basically because the law says within 90 days of the new year, you should file your returns. So we have had 31 days in January. We've had 29 in February. So ideally it should be 30th of March. But right. Okay, we said, okay, let's do it till the end of the month, which is 31st of March.
Right, and what are we expecting here, compared to last year? How did you see compliance?
Yeah, we expect improved compliance because basically what we have noticed is that for even the corporates that did theirs up to 31st of January, we saw a massive improvement in compliance. And we expect the same thing to reflect in the one for individuals, because really at the state level, this is the real McCoy, this is the real thing, because we manage personal income tax, not corporate income tax. So the previous rendition was for our agents, but this time around, it is the key core taxpayers that are filing this time around. Yeah.
All right. Are there any specific requirements or documents needed, when filing the returns?
Yeah, absolutely, because your returns that you are filing is a true disclosure of your income that you earned from all sources last year. Then also, if you have evidence of those reliefs or allowances that you think the tax authority should grant you, and then, of course, if there have been some previous prepayments made on your behalf. So essentially what you are disclosing to us is your financial statement of where all those monies are coming from. Then if you have subscribed to some of those schemes that are allowed by the law, like you have a pension scheme, you have the National Health Insurance Scheme, you have the National Housing Fund, you have, there are two other ones, the life assurance policies, as well as the final one has to do with, I can't remember now. Those ones, you need to mortgage. That's the last one. If
mortgage,
you have mortgage, yes, self-mortgage. So if you have evidences that you have actually subscribed to all of those, then you need to upload those ones as well. Then, if you have had payments made on your behalf by your employers, that is taxes paid on you, then you have evidence of that. Then if you have taxes that have been paid on your behalf by your tenants, like your tenant paid you, but has already paid withholding tax on your behalf, then you submit that one. Also, from your registrars, those ones that you had dividend, and then some deductions were made, you can upload all those ones. Our platform is made user-friendly. You can upload all these documents without any stress.
Without any stress, because I know, sometimes it's always a headache, trying to put all of these things together and now, get it uploaded. But talk to me on how individuals can actually access this e-tax, platform. Yeah,
it's very easy. It's etax.lrs.net. So once you get to that platform, you will see the small button that tells you My Returns. So it takes you to what you need to do, you download. But even if you don't know anything at all, we have a chat bot by the side that takes you step by step on what to do. If that one doesn't work for you, then we have our call center who will assist you. If by any chance you don't even have the infrastructure to do it yourself, then we have dedicated desks in all our offices, free of charge. Free of charge.
Free of charge. Keyword.
Please, that's the keyword. That you should not pay any funding to anybody. The desks are there. They are being paid their salaries to provide assistance to taxpayers. So you go to that place. Yes, you don't have computer at home. Give them orders. They will help you do it. You view it. When you are okay with it, then you said they can submit on your
All right, so you guys heard it here first. You don't have to settle anybody when you're filing.
No.
Just go there and you get, all the assistance you need.
Yeah.
All right, talk to me now. Definitely, there would be people that are not going to comply, at this time. Definitely we have the ones that try to avoid or evade. Talk to me about penalties here. Yeah. What are the penalties?
Now,
Wind up.
Yes. There is penalty for you for not filing, because basically filing of all, it's a constitutional requirement that says that without being prompted by the tax authority, you should declare truthfully what you've earned in the previous and pay what you think you owe to the government. Now, because of that, and because of what we have is that for individuals, if you don't file, there is a provision under the law that says that I can charge you for the amount that I think you owed last year. That is, if your chargeable income last year, your chargeable tax paid was, say, even 5 million. This year, I can make it your penalty.
Even if I don't make up to 5 million this year?
Yeah, I can make it. So it is your penalty for not filing. You see, it's there because but people don't see it. And that's the danger of not reading through all those laws. And that's one, I don't even have to come to you. Because if you don't pay within 30 days, all I need to do is to show evidence to a judge in chambers, not at the open court, that I have served this on you. But aside from that, the usual one that everybody thinks about is the 20,000 one, and that after the conviction, 2,000 every other day on which you are in default. But the truth of the matter, the more strenuous one is on 94.4, yeah, that's subsection 4, that says that I should charge you for what you were chargeable for last year. And then, of course, now sue you for it if you don't pay within 30 days. And I don't even have to do it in open court because all I need to do is just show evidence to a judge in his chambers, in his room, that this is what I've done for you. And that's the risk people run. But yes, we have a large number of people, so you don't want to really do that. But this year, our legal department is already on it. We have mapped those people that have consistently not filed in the past 2 years. So if you have not filed for 1 year, most likely you will escape it. But if you have not filed the previous 2 years and you don't file this year again, you will be on the list of those people that we will definitely take to court this year.
Right, and definitely we also have non-residents, at some part of Lagos. So talk to me about, the different filing procedures, or deadlines, for, say, a non-resident. Okay, now I'm a last mark compliance officer. I stay on my lane. For non-residents, they don't have obligation to the state. They have obligation to Federal Inland Revenue Service. Right.
So it's only residents that I'm concerned about. So they have obligation to file to FIRS, which FIRS.
Well, what if you're not in the country, at some point?
Yeah, if you're a non-resident and you're having economic activities from which you are income, then you need to do that at the federal level. And then, of course, because what it does for you...
And there's no separate platform, it's the same platform, you just...
No, it will be the platform of... FIRS has what they call Tax Pro Max. FIRS has that. So, but I don't think it's for me to dwell on that. Right. But it's FIRS has that. You do it because you need it wherever you are resident. You will need also to file returns there, and then you have to show evidence that you have complied with the laws in this jurisdiction, which we have had some businesses. Yes.
Okay. Can individuals in Lagos State, amend their annual tax returns and submission if they discover, errors? Because at the end of the day, sometimes, there might be errors, when it comes to how maybe you spelled your name, or, when it comes to data that you've already provided, maybe in imputing that data, there was some kind of error. How can, you make such amendments?
Our system is configured to understand that we're human. We can make mistakes. However, to avoid abuse, once you have filed in your returns, it stays there, but you can only make amendments because it now becomes what we call administrator privilege. So it's no longer a front-end privilege for you. So if you have made that error and you can now justify it, then our administrators who have administrator privilege on our side will help you make all the correction and amendments that you want.
And I'm looking for a key word there. Is it free of charge?
It is. It is. It is. It is.
Because we see situations where you have to make an amendment and you have to pay so much to make such an amendment.
The service we provide in LIRS, when it comes to tax administration, is FOC, free of charge, because we understand that tax is a burden in itself. Now, we as a state agency do not have control over the tax laws because they are federal laws. So the only thing we can do at our level is to reduce the cost of compliance for the taxpayers. So all our reforms are geared towards reducing cost of compliance for our taxpayers. So that's why most of the
we also have a serious economic burden, right now with high inflation and all of that. So we all need as much support now. But are there any exceptions or deductions available to individuals that are filing?
If your total earnings for the whole year is less than 30,000, then you don't need to file. You must be able to demonstrate that. Then, if you file on time, you are actually entitled to 1% bonus of your tax chargeable. If you file on time, there's a bonus provided for in the law, which you can, of course, take advantage of. Even if you don't use it in the current year, you can use the subsequent year.
You can always carry that over.
Yes, please.
Right. All right. Well, what steps should individuals take if they're unable to file their, annual tax returns by the deadline, due to, unforeseen circumstances at this point?
Now, my advice is very simple. Don't wait till 31st of March. Do it today. The time to do it is just file now. But because by the time you have 31st of March and you get to the 1st of April, you have already contravened the law. So, but you need to do some form of engagement and communication. The key word here is communication. If you have tried and you've been having some challenges, then you reach out to the tax authority that I have challenges due to certain things. I can't really meet that deadline. So you have given us notice in advance. So it is not a post-event issue. It is a pre-event issue. If you have that and it's documented, then there's no problem.
Maybe because some unforeseen circumstances could just come, boom. And you don't have time to even...
So once it comes and you are able to communicate to us and let us know,
right,
then we will understand. We will understand because we are a caring agency. And the most important is communication, I say. Keep us in the loop. And then we have 1,001 channels which you can reach us. So you can do email, you can go to, we have our call center.
Right.
So you can even reach us through social media because we have some platforms that some people are managing it. That's what they do. So once they see anything from you, they try to respond to you as well.
Right. And definitely everyone needs care from the taxman.
Yeah.
At this time in 2024, with all we're seeing right now. Thank you so much, Mr. Chukwubu Akande, Special Advisor to the Executive Chairman of the LIRS. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Right.
Thank you.
So we'll take a break now. When we come back, we head straight to the markets. To stay with us is Business Incorporated. All right, first trading day this week, the last week of February, and we have Eni with the details there. It's a bumper market right now, and see the NGX 0.13% up, not looking bad.
Yeah, not looking bad for intraday. And it was a quick move, I have to tell you, because about an hour before 12, or less than an hour, we were in the negative 0.11%. And then suddenly we went up. So I hope there's no magic that'll be played on us before the market.
Yeah, we're watching out for the suddenlies at this point.
Yeah, we have to. We have to, Laddie. Well, welcome to the market segment of Business Incorporated. And yes, we have a green NGX at this time, 102,000. We've regained that, but we've done better than this. And I have to tell you for intraday that the stocks that investors are looking at is Accessco. Even though Accessco dropped, FBN Holding is one of those drivers this afternoon, up 0.13%, UBA down, but Zenith Bank. So it's a mixture for the figures, but they have been able to hold that up at intraday. And then we move over to the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. That's also negative 0.98% in the negative. It's a weaker trade today for South Africa. Global pairs are mixed as investors look. And then the outlook for U.S. consumer inflation and all of that is still feeding into that. That's why you have a red right there for South Africa at intraday. At the EJX, that's Egypt, it's positive at 2.63%. A benchmark for Egyptian is up. That's from Sunday, following a continuous nosedive of the US dollar. The dollar affects every market. So as the dollar goes down, then we see other economies going up. The blue chip EJX30 experienced a mixed performance among the constituents. Conversely, Talat, some of those drivers, Talat, Mustafa Group Holdings, Edita Food, Egypt Kuwait Holding registered. These are major stocks for Egypt, and they are the ones driving that market. Meanwhile, Kenya, this is from Friday, and they're sustaining the 92, 92, not up to 100, sorry, 92.83. You know, we're used to talking about thousands everywhere. So before we move to other market, let's speak to Abdulrasheed Momo to give us more details about the Nigerian market. At this time, we see a mixed sentiment, especially among the Fugas. Hi, Abdulrasheed. Good morning, Mr. Momo. Good afternoon, I beg your pardon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. So we see that the Fugas, the banks are the one moving the market at this time. We see Zenith is up, UBA is down, FBN is up, Access goes. So, I mean, how do we summarize investor sentiments in the markets at this time at the NGX?
A quick summary, the market is just generally flat. Market needs a form of information that will actually move us to the next trend. As I said, from last year to about, I think, January, the market was, the rally was on the high side. It was very volatile. And for every volatility, there will always be a correction. So it's not strange for us seeing any correction now. A lot of clients have called, why is the market going down? Nobody called when the market was going up. So basically, correction is needed, is healthy for the market. And from what we are seeing, the most active in terms of volume are actually the banking sector.
So, I mean, you said the market needs information. The fact that the MPC is meeting and will announce their decision tomorrow, is that not enough information?
And so for now, there's nothing really driving the market. The momentum is flat. So basically, what we are seeing now is people actually, for traders like us, we are not really seeing much rally except for 2 weeks ago, Geregun, the First Bank. Any other sector is just generally flat. GT did some movement and Zenith, yes, I think last week and today, but not as high as what Geregun and First Bank did in terms of volume and price appreciation. So, but so far, generally, the market is it's flat. I won't say it's flat.
So, would you say that the market has already priced in expectations from the MPC? So, I mean, that's why it seems like everything has adjusted already.
Not really. We know there's going to be an increase, right? But again, yes, market prices in a lot of things, but the next coming week is going to see whether the market is we're going to enter another new bear trend or a bull trend. But technically, as I've said, the index must not go below 100,000 points because that is the core strong support area we've seen for the past, since January to date. 100,000 points has been the strongest support level. If the market breaks below that, it's going to be another about 4,000 to 5,000 loss. If the market moves above 100,000, then we're going back to 106,000. So as it is now, the market is on a cliff. So anything can happen. So I think it's more of a watching game. We just have to watch and see what happens. How the formation, the MPC plays, the year-end plays. Because if you look at the year-end now, even if they come out, we know they're coming out with good results and in terms of dividend payout. But again, you need to know the kind of players in the market in terms of investors and traders. No matter what they pay now, most of those rallies we saw in January were really on the high side. So anything can still happen. We just need to wait. But as I said, 100,000 units will decide whether it will be the beginning of a new bull trend, or the continuation of a bear trend.
So how do you see the market closing today? We're positive now, but I mean, anything can happen.
No, it's actually gone back to, it's just a minor 0.05. It's down again. It's actually mixed. It's mixed now. Yeah, the banking sector is up, and the index is down. NSC 30 is down. It's mixed. Actually, we're in a mixed market now.
I wonder if you would say this is a safe time to get on board for those who would like to get on the NGX, or they should still look the way of the fixed income?
Everything. If you look at it, if you want to start comparing, want to start comparing Nigerian stocks now in terms of the weakness of Naira, everything here is more of penny stocks, and the kind of returns you will get even as an investor, is going to be on the high side. So it's still a buy for investors, just like, I mean, for investors, well, in terms of traders always want to buy low and sell high, you understand?
Obviously.
So that is just but it's a good, I mean, with current pricing, it's with the kind of returns you get, it's still a good deal.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Momo Abdulrasheed Momo, equity trader with TRW Stockbrokers.
Thank you.
Let's go to other continents or countries. Middle East right now is down 0.19% at intraday at 9,262.20. Dubai follows suit 0.26% in the red. 4,214.79. In Saudi Arabia, it's still the same thing, 0.29%. The only difference standing out rare is Qatar. Ooh, when I say Qatar, I remember, the business summit talks and all of that. Well, eventually it's going to hold in Qatar with Nigeria and all of that. But the market at intraday is 0.232% at 10,443.31. Moving on now to Asia, the Nikkei 225 extends rally. It's hit this last week, 39,000, and it's building on that. 39,223.71, up 0.35%. The Kospi is on the flip side, 0.77% in the red, 2,647.08. The Hang Seng is also in the red. Measures did little to boost the main index on the day. That's talking about Kospi that it ended that in the red. Investors await a slew of economic data, which is expected this week, including China's Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index and the U.S. Personal Consumption Expenditure. Shanghai is deeply in the red, almost 1% shed off its index at the close of trade today. And Australia has recovered. We see it at 0.12% in the green. Let's go over to the United States now. As it had us looking, U.S. equities inch lower on Monday as investors look forward to that latest reading of the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gauge, as well as a slew of big earnings. The Dow Jones is in the red, 0.16%, 39,126. S&P, I mean, it's a red market. This is the future, so we'll see how that looks when it opens. But it's marginally in the red, talking about the S&P 500, 0.08%. NASDAQ is even more marginal right there at 17,985.25, 0.03%. Stocks are heading into the final week of February. This is the final week. Friday is the first, so we'll see how the market will close on Thursday on a high note after major indexes achieved new milestones on Friday and registered winning weeks with help from NVIDIA. NVIDIA, big one last week, and I think last 2 weeks also. So for 2 weeks running, we've seen NVIDIA move the market. I wonder if Ladi has some stocks in NVIDIA. Ladi, that would be a good place to go to, but that would not be patriotic.
No, yeah, we only buy Nigeria at this point. And definitely, investors are globally looking forward to a lot of data, this week and
in
at
Asia,
the end of the day,
in Nigeria, in the United States.
Investors just want to know one thing. When is the rate cut coming? When are the rate cuts coming? That's all they're interested in right now.
Are you talking of Nigeria's rate cuts?
Global, no. The Fed, the US Fed. You know what I'm talking about, Edie. But, we have...
I think they've said we have to wait for about 2-3 months more.
Yeah, they're just kicking it down the line.
We could start seeing that rate cut that we're looking for. But, the thing with the market is even before the rate cut comes, investors already price it into their decisions. So by the time it comes, it doesn't make a lot of difference. Right. So this is the period, before the rate cut is when I will see decisions being made. And
right here in Nigeria, we're all looking forward to the first MPC meeting of 2024 by the new leadership.
Exactly. Since we had this Olayemi Cardoso as the CBN governor, this will be his first. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of Nigerians just want to see how he handles it. It's going to be different. His body language and everything like that. We'll be watching closely. Yeah. And of course, the studio will be open tomorrow live to accommodate that. Here.
And all the discussions that follow. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Nini. All right, let's take it on to London now. We have Juliana standing by there with the details. Great to have you, Juliana. So we're seeing news from the aviation industry at this time. We see Ryanair, the warning of a 10% fare rise. Why?
Good afternoon, Laddie. Yeah, that's absolutely right. We have had an urgent update to investors today by Michael O'Leary, who is the flamboyant boss of Europe's largest budget airline, which is Ryanair. And he has said that, unfortunately, due to issues outside of Ryanair's control, flight prices are likely to rise by about 10% this summer, which is not great news for British holidaymakers. I can tell you it is absolutely freezing in the UK at the moment, literally freezing. Temperatures have dipped to about 0 degrees this month alone. So this is typically the time where most households will be putting together their budgets to have a decent holiday abroad. And Ryanair is one of those companies that allow you to pay in instalment plans. But they've said, alas, yes, it is going to be much higher because of their dependence, or should we say reliance, upon Boeing 737 crafts. And I'm sure we'll all remember that there was a massive issue with Boeing on an Alaska flight just a few days into the new year, where a window came off. I don't know if it was a window or a door mid-flight, really, really frightening. Thankfully, nobody lost their lives during that time, but it has opened up more issues already for the troubled airline, which means aviators, regulators within the aviation industry have been really strict on their new delivery of planes. They were supposed to arrive, I think, a couple of weeks ago. According to Ryanair, they're not going to arrive now until the end of March, and this is going to massively impact their availability of seats, which is why they've said they're going to rise by 10%. In fact, this is an announcement, but I think it's fair to say most airlines from across the world periodically increase their prices for a range of issues. And according to Ryanair, this is a reason just beyond their control. Not great for holidaymakers, though, of course. Right, definitely a season of price rises, at this point. Quite interesting to see cuts at some point. Well, what market-moving data should we expect for the last trading week of February in the UK? Yeah, last trading week of February, it's gone very, very fast, although we've got an extra day, a day we only get once every 4 years, which is the 29th of February. But in terms of, data coming out of the UK, it's pretty quiet this week. I think we're getting car manufacturing data possibly towards the end of the week. However, we are going to be expecting some statements from deputy governors at the Bank of England, particularly about interest rates. I did hear you have that conversation with Vinny about whether or not we are going to be seeing soon interest rate declines. And we got some data this morning out of a UK recruitment firm, which suggests that there are 1 million fewer vacancies in the UK than there were this time last year, which is massive if you think about it. I think the labour market has been pretty decent out of the UK over the past couple of years, particularly since we came out of COVID. But because there has been so many vacancies, it has been really difficult for Andrew Bailey, the governor of the Bank of England, to reduce interest rate hikes. So potentially this data showing that there are fewer jobs could show that the labour market in the UK is cooling. Therefore, is there an interest rate cut in the foreseeable? That's what we're probably going to be getting out of the Deputy Governor's statements due tomorrow and I believe Thursday. This has also impacted the markets, actually, because there is anxiety, as there always is, on a Monday afternoon. The FTSE All-Share, Laddie, it's down by 0.36%. The FTSE 100 down to at 0.35%, and the FTSE 250, the domestic market, that's down by 0.37%. In the currencies market, the British pound is currently trading up against the US dollar by 0.09%, though it's trading down against the euro by 0.15%, but trading up against the Japanese yen at intraday by 0.18%, Laddie. Right, and I guess global investors should just be at least happy that there is that indication of rate cuts at some point in 2024. That's if that's going to come. We'll keep watching, definitely. Thank you so much, Juliana, for the details there. Thank you. Thanks, Laddie. All right, now let's take it on to Europe now. We see EU agriculture ministers are meeting in Brussels to discuss the bloc's agricultural policies amid tensions between farmers and governments. Joining us now is Chipondo Chimbelu, DW correspondent, joining us from Berlin. Great to have you. So what's the latest, Chip?
Thanks for having me. Well, Laddie, the latest is that Belgian farmers will be protesting not too far from where the EU agricultural ministers are meeting in Brussels. And Polish farmers are also holding a protest in Warsaw. In recent months, we've seen farmers across Europe protesting in other countries as well. Farmers in Eastern European countries, including Poland and Hungary, say that cheap Ukrainian food exports, especially wheat, are making their produce less competitive on the market. Now, in an effort to support the Ukrainian economy after Russia's invasion, the EU suspended import duties and other restrictions for imports from Ukraine in June 2022. But cheap Ukrainian grain exports have led to protests by governments, farmers, and truckers in neighboring countries, that is Slovakia, Hungary, Poland, and Romania. And here in Germany, farmers have been protesting against government plans to cut subsidies for diesel fuel. French farmers have also protested against similar plans by their government, in addition to low food prices and an EU plan for a trade agreement with 4 South American countries.
All right, how are the EU lawmakers responding?
Well, in France, we've seen President Macron promising to establish a minimum price for each product to ensure that farmers are able to earn enough money, regardless of market prices. And in Brussels, the European Commission has announced concessions. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said Brussels would pull back plans for a new law that would have forced farmers to reduce pesticide use by 50%. Now, these protests come at a crucial time. The European Parliament election is set to be held in June, so politicians at the EU and national levels are scrambling to come up with responses to ensure that the farmer protests do not hurt their parties when Europeans head to the polls. Meanwhile, farmers in Europe believe that agriculture is not appreciated or valued on the continent. Now, that's why we see them calling for more exceptions and fewer rules.
Yeah, fewer rules at this time. What can we expect from markets in Europe today?
Ladi, European stocks are expected to trade slightly lower today. Investors are waiting for inflation data from Europe and the US later in the week. Now, that information will help them make projections as to when the European Central Bank and the US Fed may lower interest rates. Markets expect the first ECB rate cut in June. Investors will also be keeping an eye on a speech by ECB President Christine Lagarde at the European Parliament later today. And there's also, of course, a flurry of data expected later in the week, which include German retail sales and unemployment. Markets will also be keeping an eye on U.S. jobless data on Thursday. Now, that will help shed more light about when the next Fed rate cut would take place this year.
All right, thank you so much. That was Chipanda Chimbelu there, joining us from Berlin, giving us the details from Europe. All right, let's take it on to Africa now. We see Zambia, their bonds jumped today, and analysts are saying it's because of traction with China and India deal. It's going to get some funds from both countries. See the dollar securities due for 2027. That rallied to the highest level that's since June 2022. See Zambia's dollar debt jumped after its government said over the weekend that China and India, the last 2 nations, needed to sign a deal to restructure Zambia's debt, have done so. The price of the nation's $1.25 billion notes due 2027, that climbed by the most in a day since October. They were trading at $68.58 on the dollar as the early trade in London. That's the highest level since June 2022. We'll definitely be looking out for how the economy fares when they get that debt restructure. So in Kenya, the Meru business community have expressed optimism of getting reliable power supply after President William Ruto secured funding for various projects following a bilateral talks with Japan's Prime Minister. During his recent state visit to Japan, the head of state managed to secure about 15 billion shillings in funding for the Meru wind farm energy, which is expected to spur economic growth, with other mega projects expected to come up, including the Lamu Port, South Sudan-Ethiopia transport corridor that's in northern Meru. The Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, that's the KNCCI Meru chapter chairman, said that while thanking Ruto for his efforts to address the power needs in the country, said they expect more infrastructure projects going forward. The Economic Community of West African States Commission over the weekend lifted sanctions it imposed on Niger over the unconstitutional takeover of government in the country on July 26, 2023. Well, joining us now for more is Fidel Owusu, Geopolitics and Security Advisor at Riley Risk, Inc. Joining me via Zoom. Great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nice talking to you.
Fantastic. So, first of all, were you expecting this move by ECOWAS? And is it the right decision?
Yeah. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Firstly, as when the three Sahel states decided to break away from ECOWAS, definitely it was clear that that was a serious escalation. And the regional leaders, led by Nigeria, not wanting ECOWAS to collapse under their leadership, was definitely, or the leadership was definitely going to do something about it. Right from the word go, ECOWAS gave out a very moderate tone from previous tones, just that the Nigerian government was not so much in support of removing these sanctions. Many other leaders in the sub-region really wanted negotiations. And so this decision has not been a surprise at all.
Right, and what is the risk if these states continue with their exit plan from the ECOWAS bloc?
Yeah, so please come again on that.
Yeah, what is the risk, to the bloc if they continue, these three countries continue with their plan to exit?
Yeah, so currently with the removal of the sanctions, not so much has been heard from them as to whether they are going to continue to be part of ECOWAS or they are going to go ahead with their decision to move away. But there's something about this decision that the precedent is set, because it was as a result of coup d'etats that these sanctions were placed on them. So with the removal, does it mean that going forward, when the military decide to take power in any West African state, they are just going to declare that they've broken away from the bloc, and then the bloc will then remove sanctions from them, or the bloc is not going to impose sanctions at all? And if so, then the protocol on democracy in that ECOWAS adopted years back, how is it going to be effective? So the risk is that it may set precedent for other military men to also take power in their countries. And again, it can also mean that despite whatever carrot that ECOWAS is giving to this junta, they may say that, well, it's too late and we may not like to join. Because for me, I think that much of this dynamics depends on the quest by these military men to stay on, rather than any serious effect of the sanctions on them. Because then, are they willing to hand over? And so the coming months will determine that.
I will definitely be watching out for that, because the economy of West Africa rests on these countries actually staying together. Thank you so much for coming on, Fidel Owusu, Geopolitics and Security Advisor at Riley Risk, Inc. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
All right, now let's get a check on all the markets. Now let's take a look at what's happening in the crypto market. We see the board there. It's a mixture of red and green, but it's majorly red from where I'm sitting at this point. But we see Ethereum holding up strong above the $3,000 level, up about 0.65%. Even though we're seeing on the flip side, Bitcoin, that's down by 1.43% at $51,126,000, about $40,000 there. BNB, $386. Bitcoin still managing to hold strong for that level. We see that XRP, that's trading at 53 cents, down about 2.43%. Let's look at the sentiment in the market now. It's a very still a greedy market, at this point. Even though we're seeing traders a little jittery at this time, but we're still seeing quite a greedy market at 72 points. Over 100 at this point. Let's look at some top headlines in the market this afternoon. We see MicroStrategies X account that got hacked, and we did hear some investors lost a lot of money because of this hack. At this time, let's look at other stories now in the crypto market. Now we're seeing Wales, that's top big, giant investors in the market that they refer to as whales. They've accumulated a stake over $45 million in Ethereum at this time. So I guess that's why we're seeing that reflect on the price of Ethereum at this time. Let's bring in Olumide Adesina now, financial market analyst. Hello, Olumide, great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ladi. Good afternoon.
Yeah, so definitely right here in Nigeria, the P2P market still in focus at this time. We've seen restrictions on some platforms right now. Talk to me about how traders are navigating being restricted, from using Binance and some of these exchanges.
Yeah, so I think when you look at the USDT NGN, the charts used to track the Naira to the dollar, the P2P, popularly on Binance, you could see moderation in the value of the dollar and appreciation on the value of the Naira. Right now, as we speak, the Naira is trading below the 1,600 mark against the USDT peg dollar. And pretty much that has to do with the fact that the amount of Naira liquidity is not at the level we saw the weeks back. And on the week-to-week, again, the Naira has gained over 25%. So the federal government has been able to control the narrative against crypto websites being used as reference point, despite the fact that they pose less systemic dangers. Because if you look at the liquidity chart on the P2P market, it's much lower than what you see on the official market, less than 1/6 of what the daily trading volume is what we have on the board. The reference point at which a lot of players use these platforms was what really made the federal government really. So we are seeing that playing out, and I think for now we are seeing some traders off the table because cautionism and pessimism is already taking play in that market, and the fact that you directly don't have access from Nigeria on the websites of this portal also creates bottlenecks. But that has kept a high number of Nigerians agitated that they are not the problem facing the FX market, that we have supply side issues, we have issues of trust, and we have a very bureaucratic official market. But, the federal government has the powers to really intervene at what level they see fit to really put the integrity of the market back into place, and disallow unofficial mechanism from being.
So Olumide, so what you're saying now basically is if we had good inflow of dollars into the market at this time, then whatever pricing was going on Binance or any of these P2P platforms wouldn't have any impact.
Yeah, we definitely will have little impact, but these platforms are becoming systemic because they're used for reference points. Like I mentioned, a lot of traders, both on the official and unofficial segment, use these platforms, and that's where the federal government gets a big jittery on, and that's what they're really fighting on.
Right. So I guess it's a brand new week. Definitely be looking out for how the Naira trades in most of these markets, as the FX market. Thank you so much, Olumide Adesina, for your perspective. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so that's the show today. Definitely we'll keep tracking all the markets and all the numbers and all the volatility, in this market. Remember, you can visit channelstv.com for more updates. Thank you for watching. I'm Ladi Williams from the team right here at Channels HQ. It's bye for now.